Yeah.
What?
You recording?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just need the button to turn blue, drunk. That's all I need.
Hey, I'm on your side.
Goddamn right you are.
I'm Team Mike. Always have been, always will be.
Button's blue, baby.
The people demand we give them one. After a week of waiting, the time has come.
Travis, I'll give you a peek into some of the good criticism I get, like some of the real quality suggestions I get on how to improve the show. Earlier today, Travis, it was suggested to me that the way to improve the program is to replace you with my wife.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Replace Travis.
Well, he didn't say replace Travis, but he said, oh, you should do the show with your wife and drunk.
Ah, there it was. That is well have said.
Travis. Forever.
Thing we call the Wfod. My name is Mike. I am joined by my good friend, Mr. Drunkard STL.
Travis forever.
And guys, via Skype, the king of pranks, the albino alligator, popcorn bitch, Mr. Travis Hulse, everyone.
Nope, sorry, this is Mike's wife.
Phone number to contact the show is 636-487-HAND or WFOD show on Skype. And guys, we have one hell of a program for you this evening. Coming up after the break, we are going to be talking to the great Warren Davis, Travis. Warren Davis, he's a video game man. He created KOMBAT, and he wrote a book about it. And Travis, I'll tell you, this book is crazy because, now, I think that I was just a little bit younger than the dawning of video games.
Just a hair ski.
But, like, how quickly they went from making KOMBAT, which, I mean, to give you a reference that I guess we'd understand, it looked like a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And, like, he made that, and then immediately went to making, like, crazy video shit. I mean, like, he worked on NBA Jam. He worked on Revolution X, the game with Aerosmith that you shot people.
Aerosmith shooter.
Terminator 2. He worked on Mortal Kombat. Yeah, the guy, he's got a fucking crazy resume, Travis. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him. Guys, speaking of technological innovations, somebody sent us a news briefing this past week. It was a kind of a sympathetic thing, Travis. It was talking about the people affected by Amazon naming their devices a people name, and how it's kind of ruined a lot of people. And we don't really think about that. We don't think about the people that, you know, are inconvenienced by the Amazon devices having a people name. And they shouldn't name it people names.
God damn them naming their device Karen.
They should name it like a robot name, like XR75 play my my Spotify playlist. You know,
Why would they? But no.
I have a
Well,
clip.
to be fair, you can switch the name, right? My daughter's device, she wakens it by saying Echo.
I was about to say you can only change it to like 4 or 5 different things.
You're right.
Can you give it a boy name?
I don't think so.
What if there was a family who had children named after all of the things you could name it, Travis? That would
Siri
be really
and
unfortunate.
Alexa and Cortana.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
I just want Amazon to know that he deserved to have his name honored, not to turn it into something belittling to the daughter he never got to hold. So I think they should name devices as devices, not as people. They could never carry the mantle of being a real person.
See, Travis, this gal was named after her dad, who I think he was mugged and murdered, and his name was Alex.
See, I never heard the name Alexa before, like the device, and then it turns out there's like a lot of Alexas out there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently, and their lives are all ruined.
Well, they could go by different names.
The gal was in the thing, and she said that she went to the dentist's office, and the dentist said to her, "Hey, I'm just going to call you Al because I don't want to wake up my device." And she's like, "I don't want to be called Al." We're like, well, I mean,
How
it's the
about
dentist.
turn the device off?
Call her Lexi.
It's the dentist. Like, you know, just don't call her anything. Just say, "Open your mouth, please."
Bitch.
Right.
Open your
Yeah,
mouth.
I don't know how often they actually say my name when I'm sitting in the chair and they're cleaning my teeth.
Be like, "Hey, Travis, open your mouth."
Travis, now we're going to go back. Travis, would you like mint? Travis, spit.
Well, I guarantee you the dentist doesn't say your name as much as Mike does. That's for sure.
Probably not. And you don't need to say it at all. You just you're just the guy, the mouth in the seat, Travis.
That's right.
You're just the mouth in the seat. So
Yeah, I don't understand this. It's not like that there haven't been inanimate objects named after people prior to these at home like assistant devices. I'm sure there's been plenty of things over the years that have been named after people. Are we going after every single thing that has a people name?
I think that we should name more inanimate objects after people.
Agreed.
My
I call my laptop Bruce.
Is your laptop named Bruce?
Yep.
My car's name's Bob. Bob the car. It got that name. I just got new tires, Travis, and they seem extra bouncy. So like,
So that's why it's Bob.
This guy's Bob. He's bouncing around a little bit. You know, I feel very buoyant. You know what I'm saying, Drunk?
Buoyant, like you could drive through the Mississippi.
Ooh, maybe.
it a
You
shot.
do one of those things where your tires go sideways and
Yeah, totally.
like
Fuck
like a pontoon boat.
yeah, gangster.
Be kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
Don't you feel like by now we should have pontoon boat cars, Travis?
I mean, I've seen them.
I feel like people retrofit things to make them pontoons. I have seen like party school buses that people have converted into like party buses that are like outfitted with like pontoons out on them. So you pull up to the water, you drop your pontoons, you secure them into place, and you just drive right into the water.
Do you drive onto it like a car wash? Like somebody eases you into the things and then you go in neutral?
No, the pontoons, like once you get to it, like a boat landing, you would just drop the pontoons like they're up like DeLorean doors. You close them so they're sitting lower than the chassis of the school bus. You secure them into place. You drive the wheels in there, and then you just float along at your leisure.
So it's kind of like landing gear? It's permanently on the vehicle?
Essentially.
Huh.
Don't they got like the duck boats too?
I just thought those
Yeah.
were tall.
Duck boats exist.
Yeah, it's like a car that drives in the water.
You know, the route that I take to work has been closed for like
Ever?
months and months and months, and
I know that's my shortcut to get to your house after work.
I'm starting to think that there's something going on, Travis.
There is. I'll tell you about it afterwards.
Oh, is there something going on?
Yeah, there's a thing.
Is the government doing something? Drunk, tell me. Just tell me.
It's kind of, well, there's like a...
Give me the wink version.
Part of it is there's a land dispute with an owner back there.
Oh. They say they own the road?
Well, they want to move the bridge a little bit, but that would be going onto the man's property.
Do I have to pay this man a toll? Is that what you're saying? I'm gonna have to give this guy a
No,
toll?
the man wants his land. He doesn't want you to. He doesn't want them to build a bridge on his land.
So you're talking about the current bridge?
Well, I'm talking about like one of the little itty bitty like.
Yeah. So they want to go around that?
Right, because the current bridge is failing. It doesn't pass inspection.
Oh.
And they can't build.
All our bridges are failing.
God damn it, Travis.
Remember when
can't go
Obama
through
did
it
that
where it
State of the
currently
Union address
is.
and he said we had a bridge problem in this country, that all our bridges are falling apart, which was like the first time I heard about it?
The road over behind the Hucks, they just put a
That's another land
barrier up.
That's another landowner issue.
And they just said, yeah, this isn't a road anymore.
Yeah.
You can't even fucking drive past the Hucks.
No.
There's a light there that goes to nothing.
Yep. That's another landowner issue.
Fucking motherfuckers, Travis. The goddamn... How much does it cost to patch a road? You get some
Sounds like
concrete.
some disgusting bureaucracy.
You get a couple guys. You go out there and you fix the fucking road, Travis.
But yeah,
If they're city workers, you got to have at least 6 of them for a 2-man job.
that route probably won't reopen again until 2023.
Oh, my God. It makes going to work
10 times
hassle.
longer. Yeah.
I hate it.
You gotta go all the way down the big road.
I got to go down the big road, drunk. And that's where everybody goes.
I know.
What we had is a few people who went the other way, and that made it better for everybody.
Absolutely.
They fucked it all up.
They did.
Travis, our friend Brandon from Shitty Song of the Week, he sent us an assisted suicide thing. You want to talk about that?
Okay.
You know what? I think he saw this story and he said, "This looks like a Wfod story." So they got these pods. They kind of look like escape pods on like a fancy spaceship.
Okay.
They're pretty cool looking. I'm trying to describe what they look. They look like little space shuttles.
Does it look like what you go into to go to the top of the arch?
No. Like it looks like somebody really cool designed these. Like Tony Hawk made them. You know what
I
they
didn't
kind
know
of.
Tony Hawk was a designer, but
Well, me neither. I'm just trying to think of somebody who's cool, and that's the reference I came up with.
When Mike goes to his cool meter at the top of the pops,
yeah,
it's
Tony Hawk, the 50-year-old man.
You see him, man.
Super cool.
Fucking Tony Hawk. He's cool, right? Guys, I got a question for you. The WFOD question of the week. Who's cool?
Who is cool?
Like when you think cool, who comes to mind? Like who is the cool guy?
I got my.
Travis, do you remember that movie where Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence were going to space and they were supposed to sleep for like 1,000 years or something?
Passengers?
Yeah, the things that they were in when they were supposed to sleep, it kind of looks like that. Only like it's painted cool colors, like metallic purple and stuff.
Is there like a clear window on it?
Yes.
You said it was who and who?
It was Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. And
Isn't that one of those Jupiter movies?
I think they were going to a different planet to like repopulate. It was one of those we fucked up.
Yeah, it's like a whole colony, but then everybody dies except for them.
Yeah, like they fucked up the Earth and they had to go somewhere else.
Gotcha.
And then they were only 2 people, so they had to fuck.
Well,
Yeah, but then they hated each other because they were there for so long, and then they liked each other. It's a whole thing.
Right.
it's the whole pop.
So anyway, these pods, you go in them.
You didn't even answer the question.
A 3D printed coffin-like pod developed to carry out assisted suicide may soon begin legally operating in Switzerland.
It's a Swiss invention. It looked way too big to be 3D. How big are these 3D printers now?
You can get industrial-sized 3D printers.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
I don't know why they specified 3D printed because I mean it's not like you can send me the schematics and I could make one in like my at-home 3D printer. I mean, it has to fit a person in it.
I guess you just make it like pieces at a time and then assemble it.
Yeah, and then you got to get the death chemicals, Travis. It's a whole fucking thing.
The Swiss have plenty of industrial space.
Can you get? Can you just pick up some death chemicals?
I don't remember. Is it let me play this other one. What was this?
When used, the pod will flood with nitrogen, reducing the interior oxygen level from 21 to 1%, making the user feel disoriented and slightly euphoric, not panicked, before losing consciousness and dying within half a minute.
I don't think in a half a minute you would have time to get euphoric.
Be euphoric?
You'd probably still be like, oh, the thing closed. I guess I'm fucked. And then by then you'd be dead, right?
Right.
Like, when is the euphoria? I think that you should have a couple minutes. 30 seconds, it's too fast.
Well, I mean, at least enough
Well, you wanna back
to
out?
be intoxicated right before you pass.
I don't know. I get they just said in 30 seconds you're dead. I think that 30 seconds would probably be devoted to, well, I guess this is it. I hope I feel euphoric soon. And then you're dead.
I would imagine that if you die within 30 seconds, there is time to be panicked.
Certainly we'll find the time, Travis. We'll find a way to get fucking panicked.
Well, I'm not panicking.
You know, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
I guess if you're getting in that
I mean, if
thing.
you made that decision, you're fine.
What happens if you don't make the decision? And like they said that they can transport these to.
Well, I'm assuming this is mainly for euthanasia.
Yeah, you do it yourself, but they said that they can take it. Like if you want to like die in like a pretty field, they'll bring it to the pretty field for you.
Nice.
So these aren't one-time use items, right? They use them, they transport them to you. Then after you use it yourself, then they clean your body out, sanitize it, and then take it to the next place.
Sanitize.
Probably, yeah. So it'd probably be kind of gross. You get in that thing, and there's been a whole. What they need is like a bottom trap door that opens up, and then just puts you right in the ground. Like
as soon as you're dead, you just fall through.
Yeah, that way nobody has to clean you up. Yeah, they just put it right above the hole.
Nope. Incinerator.
Ooh. See, that's
well,
not
that's
bad,
yeah, one or the other. Like if you want to be buried, you can be buried, and they'll just put you prop you right up over the hole that they dug. Otherwise, yeah, they drop you into the incinerator, and then you're cremated. But I like this trapdoor idea.
Yeah, I would be too self-conscious, Travis. I would be worried. Somebody's gonna have to like clean me out of this thing. I don't think I'd like it. I think that. The whole time I would be wondering who's going to be the poor fucking guy that's got to clean me out of this thing. Because I'm probably going to shit my pants, right?
Yeah, I think everybody does.
So, I mean, like, does it have nice seats in it that I'm going to ruin?
I feel like what they would probably do is have like those toilet seat cover things, like paper. So they just like set down like some sort of like dispenser. So every time somebody new comes in, the person like pulls out like the toilet seat cover, but it covers the whole seat. Then you sit down, so that way when you pass and somebody's got to take you out of there, they just pull the seat cover out with you, and you're good to go.
But then you get in that thing and you see all the cover, and then all you're thinking about is what a mess you're going to make and how gross it is that you're doing all this.
I feel like probably at this point, if you're making the decision to die, you probably have some terminal illness or in a lot of pain. So you're probably not thinking about a lot of things other than and just being done with everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, then why don't you just like, I don't know. I don't even know what you would do.
I like this idea. I think it's been ridiculous that for so long we've, allowed people to take their pets in and put them out of their misery at a vet clinic, but people are not able to make the decision, when they have terminal illnesses, just like these animals, that they're not allowed the same respect to make that choice, and that it's illegal to help somebody take their own lives in those situations. Like, I'm not advocating suicide for suicide's sake, but I think that if somebody's in a lot of pain or has a terminal illness that is creating a lot of hardship, that people should be able to make the decision to end it.
They should jump in a volcano.
Yeah, and why make the only alternatives to this putting a bullet in your head or taking a bunch of pills that usually doesn't work, or jumping off something. Like,
Too
doesn't it
messy.
just make more sense to be in like a place where they just deal with the aftermath of this?
You're talking about like a hospital.
Anywhere. Yeah, I think that should be part of medicine, right? Like, this person, the doctor said, you have a brain tumor. Obviously, you've been in a lot of pain. We can't get it out. There's nothing we can do. There's no radiation. There's no medication. You're just going to be in a fuckload of pain until you keel over dead. Shouldn't there be an alternative to that?
So do the pod, give it a trap door so nobody has to clean you up.
That's right.
And
The hardest that person has to work is to press a button to drop the trap door, and then they move it to the next place.
yeah, and like there's just a box under it that they just have to put like a plastic lid on it and do the little snappy handle things.
Mhm.
Right. And don't take it to places. Just have it set up, and then like have a box under it, like they do at the oil change places. That you just
Yeah, you just
fall
put
right
the
into.
new box under after you're finished.
Right. There you go. We solved it, Travis. So they have the right idea, and I like that death coaster we talked about a while back too. That sounded pretty cool. That'd be a way
Yeah,
to
I'm
go.
into that.
But yeah, no, don't make somebody clean you up, because that'll just make people think about it a lot, and we don't want that. We want to just be done with it, and then fall into a box, and no muss, no fuss. Right? There we go.
Absolutely.
So, guys, now thanks for sending that to us, by the way, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm sure Warren's gonna love being on this episode.
Now we're gonna talk to the video game guy, Travis.
Gear up, buddy.
We'll be back.
Wfod goes hard.
I'm Hubert, and I've got all the right moves. I've got the legs, too. First an arcade game, now my own home video game. I'm ready for anything. Staying away from creeps like Ugg and Coily takes a quick mind and lots of fancy footwork. The longer I hop around, the more they're out to get me. Ugh!
Now for all popular systems.
Not easy being Hubert, but it's fun.
Nervous man of considerable wealth. You know Epstein didn't kill himself. You know Epstein didn't kill himself.
Hello, listener. There's things you need to know.
Online and on your mobile device.
This is Strange Label.
We have breaking news out of New York City, where it appears a feat even Jimmy Fallon himself couldn't facilitate. The Friends cast has reunited in Times Square. They appear... Is this correct? Can we get confirmation on this? They appear to be wired with explosives.
Miss Kudrow, Chaz Charlton from Action 7 News. Why are you doing this?
How you doing?
They tampered with the re-released Crystal Pepsi supply. It's making everyone go crazy for early 90s nostalgia, or whatever convoluted plotline is necessary to sell this bullshit.
We'll never surrender. We'll never quit. Because we're too legit to quit. Nothing for you.
Reports coming out of Hartford, Connecticut indicate that the ALF epidemic has eradicated the city's cat population.
Now, this is a story all about how this town's about to get flipped upside down.
Eat green. Bubble tape. It's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them.
What is that? What? Godzilla wasn't big in the 90s. What? Oh no. No, they didn't. They couldn't. No! No! see? It's a giant...
Night, Michelle.
Everybody run! It's a giant Bob Saget!
A long silence ensues. Once again, WFOD, wheelbarrow full of dicks.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Having issues, Travis? He's got a sour look on his face, drunk. Look at him.
He doesn't look pleased.
He looks perplexed is what he looks like.
No, he doesn't look perplexed. He just looks...
Travis, are you perplexed?
Just angry.
Are you... Read his mind, drunk.
I want to masturbate. You can't hear us.
You can't hear us, Travis? Can't hear us? That's unfortunate. Poor guy.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now, Travis?
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
What about on the other Skype?
Ooh. The other Skype?
I don't know.
What does that mean, the other Skype?
I thought we were on 2 Skypes. Oh, my mommy's calling me.
Your mommy's calling you?
She is.
Is your mom in your phone as Fanny?
Franny?
Franny?
Yeah.
Travis, I just heard your microphone. Well, this is...
This is a unmitigated disaster.
We're going to join the call back again is what we're going to do. Let's see if that helps. Travis, can you hear us now? I hear you. See, he's not talking.
Right.
You turned yourself down at break.
And we turned ourselves back up.
We turned ourselves back up. Travis. We turned ourselves back up. I'm up. I'm up. We hear you. Wow. So, Drunk, got any good weekend plans?
Work.
Gonna do some work?
Yep. Probably do some gambling.
You gonna do some gambling this weekend?
Well, that's basically what I do every weekend, though. So.
Yeah.
Still nothing?
You can hear us now, Travis?
Yes, sir.
What happened?
I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought you turned me down at break, and then when it looked like you came back, I couldn't hear you.
Warren's not answering.
Yeah, I'm getting unavailable. I've tried multiple times.
Huh.
That's okay.
Should I see if I have an email from him or something? Because he emailed me. And said,
Maybe he's thinking...
And he was like, hey, I just wanted to make sure we're on for tomorrow.
8:30 on a different time zone.
Yeah, do we got our time zones mixed up?
I don't think so, Travis.
I know you're pretty diligent about that because we've had those mix-ups before, and you like to make sure that people can't use that excuse.
Not this time, bucko. Not this time.
Not in my house.
Look, I fuck stuff up all the time, Travis. Time zones isn't one of those things.
So while we're waiting, did we decide who's cool yet?
Yeah. Anybody decided who's cool?
If you would have asked me maybe 2-3 years ago, I would have said Johnny Depp was in contention, but that guy not very cool.
6:30 p.m. Pacific time is now, baby.
Yeah. Is the date proper?
Yeah.
December 7th at 6:30.
6:30 p.m.
Yep.
Pacific time, baby.
Well, you know.
Hello, this is Mike.
Hey,
Warren.
Yes, indeed. Hello, how are you?
Doing okay. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm trying to connect with you on Skype.
Is not working?
I'm not finding you somehow.
Weird. It said you were unavailable. This is fine though.
Huh. You
can hear us okay, right?
Yeah. If you just want to do a voice phone thing, that's fine with me.
Okay. It's me, Travis, and Drunk. We're all here. So.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Warren, I've been reading your book and enjoying it a lot. I haven't finished it yet because I think I've learned that I'm a slow reader, Warren.
That's not nothing wrong with that.
Like I try to just knock it out and I get involved in it and then I find out that I don't finish things on a deadline very well. I am enjoying it quite a bit though. I'm just getting to when you're starting to put stuff on laser discs. So don't spoil the end for me.
All right, I'll try not to give the end away, but and there's no quiz, so no worries.
So you were one of the few authors that didn't put a quiz at the end of your book?
I did not. If you'd like me to put one together for you when you're done, let me know. But
hey, that sounds good.
Just to check my comprehension of the whole thing. So you wrote this book a while ago, didn't you? And you just self-published and took it with you to conventions and stuff. Is that?
Yeah, that was the original plan. I did write it. It took me a couple of years, so I probably started writing it probably around 2017, and it took me a couple of years. It was ready to be printed and published in about 2019, and the first show I took it to was called Free Play Florida in 2019, November. That's a show in Orlando, and I actually brought my self-published books there, thinking that I would do this, going forward. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, and everything in 2020 got canceled. So I sat around for many months doing absolutely nothing in 2020, and I thought, well, since I'm not doing anything, maybe I should reach out to some publishers and just see if there's any interest. And lo and behold, I found a publisher who was interested, and we began a process that resulted in this book being re-released. It's, technically it's a different book, but honestly, it's pretty much the same book. There have been some slight edits and some rejiggering of images and things, but it's essentially the same book.
And I think you said that you only have the one photo, which is on the cover of the entire time you were working on this game, which really is, I guess that's like kind of what you're known for, is creating Q*bert.
Yeah, that's the only picture that I am aware of from those days. The pictures that, listen, we didn't expect that any of what we were doing would have any sort of historical significance.
Right.
We were just having some fun and trying to come up with some entertaining games.
I guess now you'd probably have lots of them because you'd be posting it on Instagram and stuff, right? You probably have hundreds of pictures.
Oh, God.
And what you had for dinner every day.
Nowadays, everything is documented, exactly. But back then, and even for the book, I was going back through all of my pictures, just trying to find anything that was related to my game career. It was difficult. Pretty much everything that I have is in the book. More or less. There's definitely not. It's literally not everything, but it was just I wasn't one to just document my life, and even when I did, I was usually taking the pictures. So there were very few pictures where I was the subject of the pictures.
Like Mom, man. Mom's always the one taking the pictures, right, Travis? It's always Mom.
I'm typically the one that's not in the pictures. My choice.
I mean, if my parents lived in Chicago when I was developing Q*bert, I probably would have more pictures of myself. But they live in New York.
Travis, I think that for a variety of reasons, what I'm reading about in Warren's book, it sounds like he was in the absolute best time to be in the business that he was in, to like be a creator in that time period. Not only because you're figuring out to do things that have never been done before, but Warren, I got a real kick out of when you guys were making Q*bert. Somebody suggested that you put a pinball knocker in the bottom of the cabinet so that when Q*bert fell off the pyramid, it made a sound in the bottom of the cabinet that sounded like Q*bert fell into the bottom of the cabinet. And that you guys were able to suggest that, and the manufacturer was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. To me, that said... This must have been the best time.
We had. Sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead. I was just gonna say at the same time because then I can't hear you.
Yeah, it sounds like it was the absolute best time to be in the business that you were in.
It was, especially when I started. It was an amazing time because the department was very small and it was very loose. In fact, the main plant, Gottlieb was primarily a pinball manufacturer. And the main plant was in Northlake. But the two guys who ran the video department, Ron Waxman was the VP of engineering, and Howie Rubin was the VP of business development. And those two guys oversaw the entire video department. But they started it up in Bensonville at a separate location about 8 or 9 miles from the main plant, and partially, to protect us from the rest of the company, So they had a little bit of free reign, and they could run things the way they wanted, and the way they wanted to run things was fairly loosely, and give people a lot of freedom to create. To their credit, they really gave us the environment to play.
And did later on it become more cutthroat, and I guess more working on deadlines and stuff? I guess did you ever get into home entertainment stuff, or did you stay in arcade games? Do they even have arcade games now?
they do have arcade games now. Yeah, people are still making them. Eugene Jarvis, best known for Defender, Stargate, Robotron, Cruising USA. Basically, one of the real, true pioneers and innovators of the video arcade industry is still making arcade games with a company called Raw Thrills. And so, yeah, there are still new arcade games being made, and there's a market for them. But getting back to what you were saying earlier, the freedom that we had didn't last because the problem with the way Howie and Ron ran their department is that, you had to have some hits. And luckily, they had Q*bert, they had Mad Planets was a moderate success, and then Mach 3 was a huge success. That was a Laserdisc game. And so, things were going great. But then they built up the department, and, not everybody they hired was able to deliver the same way, that the other games did. And so they found that they couldn't sustain that model. And then things got a little more tight.
So the people that they banked on, they asked more of? Is that what you're saying?
It's not about asking from people. You rely on people, certainly, and then, the people you hire have to prove themselves by, first of all, finishing a game, and then second of all, hopefully, finishing a game that will, be a success.
Right.
So, they found early on, they were, you could say they were lucky or they were shrewd, I don't know, but they found early on they had some successes, and that the company was built on that. But then, when suddenly, and part of it is that the market changed, so it's not entirely the fault of the people that were working there. The market changed, and you just couldn't put out, just any game. The market evolved, and you had to sort of put out something that was the right game for the right time, and a lot of that is chance. So I think just letting people do their thing and letting people go off in many different directions eventually couldn't sustain itself. And then they had to kind of tighten the ship, and people couldn't spend a year and a half floundering around trying to get a game working, which is something that did happen in the early days.
Well, imagine that once, like you say, you start to have a few hits, and then everybody else kind of jumps in the game, that you all of a sudden start to compete for space in these arcades. So you do have to put out your your highest quality games, otherwise they're going to get yanked from the arcades. And I would imagine that a couple of disasters for a company like that, after they've grown their business, is going to, create some downsizing then.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the pinball industry was used to ups and downs, because historically the pinball business would go up, and then it would have a downturn, and people would be sour on pinball machines for years, and then it would come back. So I think all the pinball companies were sort of poised to weather, any storm that came. But the problem with the, market, or with the industry itself, is that, the early 1980s, with everything, it was like a boom. You could just, everybody wanted more product. Arcades were springing up literally all over the country. So it was like, yeah, give me more games, give me more games, give me more games. But it reached a saturation point where, there were too many games, and people weren't playing them anymore. The players became a little bit more discerning. So a lot of the smaller companies that just sort of did little rip-off games, that just sort of came out with something really quickly to make a buck, they're the ones probably failed first. But yeah, there was a kind of a video game crash in the arcade industry in about 1984.
When I was a kid, the only arcade that I knew of was the Dine-In Pizza Hut at the Lake of the Ozarks.
What?
And they
did they have a sit-down Pac-Man machine?
They had a stand-up Pac-Man machine, and that was it. They just had that Pac-Man machine. And eventually, when I became a teenager, we used to go to Tilt at Mid Rivers Mall all the time, and they had Mortal Kombat and Revolution X, both of which Warren worked on. Now, Warren, you made like a software that made those games possible. And I'm a dumb guy, and I don't understand what it is that you made. Can you explain in like a dumb way what it is that you made that made the? It has something to do with video, Travis, and like they were able to make video into pictures that could go in the game. But I need Warren to explain.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job explaining it. No, So what I did was I basically created an art tool. It was a piece of software that used some video digitizing hardware. So basically what that allowed you to videotape something or grab a video image from a video camera and just, basically take a, individual frame and use it as a frame of animation in our video game system. You know how, movies work. It's, or animation is, where somebody draws a cell and you play them back 24 frames a second and you have animation.
Is that how they made Mark Ruffalo the Incredible Hulk? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, that might have been a little more complicated because we're talking about the 2000s and now, and for me, I was living in the 1980s. So the technology was a little different. But basically it was just like cell animation, only we were doing that with digitized video of real people.
So, Warren,
that's the system I wrote. I wrote that software.
Why are you not worth like billions and billions and billions of dollars then? If you made that,
that's not
you should be, right?
That's not a question I'm able to answer. I've been asked it many times. If I had $1 for every time somebody asked me that question, I'd probably be approaching that.
But yeah, so I mean, as far as I remember, Mortal Kombat as being the game that I said, "Oh, holy shit, Travis! They did it, right?"
Well, I think everybody did, right? Like we had a water park, like a handful of blocks from my house, and I spent a lot of time there. And I remember one day, one of my buddies actually worked there. I couldn't have been, 12. And I remember one day showing up at the water park, and there's this giant crowd of people around one of the video games in the arcade that they had. And it's like there was never a giant crowd around one of these cabinets. It just didn't work like that. There was a handful of games that people liked, and there was always people at them. But walking in there and getting in that crowd to see what they were playing and seeing that it was called Mortal Kombat, and watching these people play this game, and every time somebody's punching, there's blood flying, and there's like, it looks like real actors in these weird landscapes and stuff was mind-blowing at the time.
Yeah, I mean, the guys who actually wrote the game, Ed Boon was the programmer, and John Tobias was the lead artist. So those two guys led that project, and the genius of what they did was to make those characters physically larger. So, they took up a much bigger piece of the screen, and so you got a lot more detail, and the digitized, the faces of the actors were more visible, and everything about it was just more visible. And then, of course, they took it into this crazy, really bold, graphically violent place, but comically so to their minds, I think. I don't think they were trying to. Create any kind of a stir. I think they were just doing it because it was fun.
Yeah, it definitely was that.
So, Warren, the book is called Creating Qbert and Other Classic Video Arcade Games. It's going to be in bookstores December 21st. Where should I send people? You just want me to send them to Amazon, Warren? Search for it on Amazon?
Well, it is available. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Barnes & Noble. It is probably available if you have a favorite independent bookseller. It's probably available to order on their website as well. So any place you'd like to order a book from, it should be available. And there's still pre-orders because it hasn't officially been released. But as you said, we've got our fingers crossed. It's been delayed a couple of times already. It was supposed to be out originally in November. But of course, COVID, thank you, COVID, just things are delayed. So we've got our fingers crossed. It'll be available when we have announced it to be available, and just waiting and seeing.
So you're out of that business now, right, Warren? You don't tinker around with it anymore? You don't have anything that you're messing around with at home?
Well, I mean, I actually do some consulting work for Sony that's game related, but yeah, it's, I mean, I always keep my finger in it. I don't know that I could leave it entirely, but I'm not deep into it right now.
You're just toying around a little bit, just staying.
Yeah,
around.
I've played around with some virtual reality stuff in the past, and I've kept up to date on some of the new game engines, Unreal and Unity. So I still keep like I said, I still keep a little pinky toe in the industry, but not very much.
And if we're gonna let you go there, Warren, I'd be remiss to ask: did you see the movie Pixels?
I did.
What did you think about Kubert's appearance in that motion picture?
Well, listen, I'm always very gratified to see Kubert anywhere. There really was a long period where he felt like he was out of the public eye, and nobody's really doing anything with the character. So, when he was in Wreck-It Ralph, I thought that was great, and when he was in Pixels, I thought that was great. I thought it was anything to keep the character alive. And the thing that's amazing to me, I go to a lot of these retro gaming shows, and I'm really just stunned how many people still love the character. I just think he's certainly he was not promoted in any way over the last